Hi, I'm Jack Bennett and I'd like to welcome you to The Drumming Body. In this video we're going to have a look at what happens inside the body when we play the drums. The drums are probably the most physical of all the different instruments. We've got a hell of a lot going on here in terms of basic motor skills, coordination, independence, interdependence. But drumming itself as an art form is not just about the physical event. Obviously a huge part of it is the conceptual side, understanding how to play different styles, rock versus jazz versus Latin, etc. There's the whole emotional side, the conviction of the performance, how you're feeling on a particular day and why you're trying to express yourself a certain way on that day versus another day. But irrespective of the style that you play, whether it's a really high intensity style like rock or heavy metal or thrash or something like that, or whether it's a really relaxed, in terms of purely the physical side, relaxed thing, maybe you're playing brushes on the snare drum at a jazz gig, irrespective of the style, there's certainly a lot going on inside the body. There's a lot of physical movement going on. So in this DVD, we're going to be looking primarily at injury prevention, how to manage certain injuries that we might get, certain postural problems that you can get from playing the drums. Obviously, a conventional setup, be that a right-handed setup like this or a left-handed if you're going the other way, is not symmetrical. So a lot of what we're doing is going from the center round to the right and back again. Very rarely for a right-handed drummer are we actually going round to the left. What does that do? If you do that thousands of repetitions over the course of a career, a lifetime or whatever, what can that do to your posture? Will it pull your posture out of alignment? If so, what can we do to either prevent that or, if we have problems from doing it, to correct that? So we're going to look a lot at sort of injury prevention. We're going to look a lot also at just basic conditioning routines for the body that are specific for drummers that will help us to maintain functionality, mobility around the kit, flexibility, there are certain types of training, for instance, hypertrophy training, which I'll get into in a second, which is the absolute wrong sort of training for drummers, bodybuilding, tightening up all the muscles, etc. There are certain types of training that are counterproductive for drummers, and there are certain types of training that are really good for drummers. Obviously, nothing that we do in the gym is going to actually make us a better drummer. There's nothing that I'm going to show you on this DVD that will improve your drumming as such. But that's not what this DVD is about. What we're trying to shoot for here, or the whole idea or premise for this DVD, is we want lifelong, pain-free drumming. There's no reason at all why we shouldn't, be able to play the drums when we're 80, 85 years old. And we have people subscribe to I Can Play Drums who write in and tell us, I've been playing for 60 years, I'm 85, I still play in my band, I really love it, still getting all the benefits from it. It's really important in order to be able to achieve that. If you're going to be playing the drums for a long time, whether you're a career musician or an amateur or even just a weekend warrior, you just jam with your friends, but you do it a lot, that we have a strong, fit body that is using correct posture, and that if we're doing something that's constantly in one direction or on one plane or side of the body, that we're doing other exercises to compensate for that, to pull our posture back into being square, so that we are basically going to remain injury-free for the rest of our life. That's the aim, and we're going to have a look at a lot of things to help us achieve that. Now with drumming, there's good and bad news. The good news first, primarily and on the whole, drumming is really, really good for you. I mean, aside from, the basic aerobic or anaerobic exercise, just general exercise that you get from playing the drums, and as I said before, that sort of varies upon the intensity of the music. If you're doing maybe a rock gig and you're playing 45 minutes a set and you're playing a really high intensity, then obviously your cardio system is going to get a lot more of a tickle than if you're just stirring away on the snare drum playing brushes. That doesn't necessarily mean that as far as the drumming is concerned that it's any easier, but just from the purely physical point of view, you're placing a lot more demand on your system. Obviously, you've got, with that, you've got, you're burning more calories, you're losing more heat, etc., etc. But aside from the purely physical side of playing the drums in that sense, there's a hell of a lot of neural activity going on up here. The neural activity and stimulation from the brain through the spine out to the hands and the legs, with all the neural pathways that are being set there, the amount of motor skills that are used, the amount of coordination, independence, interdependence that we use as drummers. There's a hell of a lot going on up here when we play the drums. It's not just all physical, okay, and that can only be good for you. There's also been a lot of other studies done, which I'm not going to cover in this video, on sort of, I guess you'd call it the hypnotic benefits of playing the drums. You're locked into this groove for 10 minutes in your band. What that can do to decrease stress levels. It can also increase serotonin levels into the body, which is basically the brain's happy drug, if you will. So there's heaps and heaps of benefits from just playing the drums.